Hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night Book Chat. I am Patricia Meredith, and this is my husband.
Andrew D Meredith.
And we are both authors. I write mystery, he writes epic fantasy, and we love to chat about books. So tonight we have some very special guests live and in person with us. This is
Adam and Rebecca Writz.
Adam and Rebecca, yes.
Rebecca is my first cousin.
Yes.
So we've known each other many years.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life.
Your whole life, yes. And my life minus 10.
Yes.
Yes.
Abouts, yes.
Abouts.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. And then how long have you known Adam? We've both known Adam since.
Well, probably since just after we started dating.
Yeah, just after we started dating. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
yeah, because we've been married for 16. So yeah.
Yeah. Married 10 years.
Yeah.
Probably met
12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
Math.
We're going to be talking about
Not
stories in role-playing today.
So
Yes.
technically some math because it is D&D.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, not hard math, though.
Not hard math.
It is
Just
just
gamer
Depends.
math. It's
Depends.
gamer
Gamer
math.
math.
Yes. Before we get into that, the big news is that my Kickstarter has launched
Yes.
and made its goal in the first 90 minutes. And as of recording this 2 days ago, we're already past our third stretch goal and onward and upward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
So check that out.
Yep.
Link in the show notes.
Yep. And we have lots of you to thank for that. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for supporting that and getting that
That'll go through
going.
August 31st.
So, but now onto our
Yes.
guests.
Tell us
and-
all about
yes.
yourselves. Everything there is to know about the Ritz.
Everything.
Yes,
everything
Oh no,
that-
I don't know if
yes,
everyone
yes.
wants to know everything.
Everything
how
that
would
we're
you-
willing to share with the internet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And how would you define yourself as a storyteller?
Ooh.
Why are you here on Late Night Book
Why are
Chat?
we here? Well,
Yes.
let's see. I guess we've talked lots about playing D&D,
Mhm.
and I think that was we've talked about, like, I've written some stuff
Yes.
that, like, the game inspired some, like, writing some vignettes and those sorts of things, and so I think storytelling as part of life and,
Yeah.
and playing games and the importance
And
of
have you been
that.
playing D&D since you first started dating, or was it farther
No.
along?
Yeah,
or-
it's
No,
before that, right?
I actually,
Yeah.
I believe I played longer.
Okay.
Than,
Yes.
absolutely longer. I started in 4th edition, so this is
Okay.
5th edition. So it's not too long ago, but
Yeah.
editions
Well,
last.
but even
a long
4th
time.
edition came out in 2010.
Yeah, so
Not
it's
that
yeah.
recent.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's only
Yeah.
14 years.
But yeah, he
Yeah.
was playing first, and then you had a group that you kind of played with, and then you started getting into Magic.
I did.
Magic the
They
Gathering.
drugged me into
The
Magic
card
the
game.
Gathering.
Yes.
And somewhere along the line, I discovered Critical Role,
Aha.
and that helped me get through my first trimester with my first kid.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It
And,
really did.
and then I got into D&D, and then had kids. And you got into a game with our youth director
Yep.
at our church and a couple students, which
Mhm.
then happened to be people that we had known, and it was this whole fun story.
Yeah.
You guys played for a couple, like 3 sessions.
It was probably about 4 or 5 sessions.
Yeah.
And then
And then I really wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I had made a character and made her originally for Adventurers League, which so it was Player's Handbook +1.
Okay.
So I'd gone through that, and then my mom's like, "Well, it's only every other week. I'll watch the kids so you can go play."
Okay.
And so I got to join at, I think we were at 3rd level. You guys were.
yep,
Mhm.
somewhere
Yeah.
around 3rd level.
I got sat on by a polar bear. And you guys discovered me.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And we had a couple more sessions, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
kind of locked us down for over a year.
Yeah.
We didn't get to play.
So, and then
Yeah.
during that time, kind of coming out of that, we bought a house. And
Mhm.
one of our goals for the house was, like, we needed a place to play games.
Right.
Yeah.
And once we got settled, it was like, hey, let's start playing D&D again. So we started with the original groups, added a couple people, lost a person, and
Mhm.
we have 6.
Yep,
Yeah,
6
we have
regulars.
6 regulars and occasional
Well,
guests in our DM.
yeah.
And we've been
Awesome.
playing
Since
ever since. We play every
Wow.
week.
Nice.
Oh my
Every week
goodness.
when
But
everyone is there.
when everyone can make it,
Yes.
which is like, it's a priority for all
Yeah.
of us.
Oh,
So yeah.
that's awesome. And it's been the same DM the whole time?
same DM the
Yep.
whole time.
Yeah,
He's been
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So much
So,
story to
yes.
build
Yes.
Lots of
along the
story.
way.
Yes. Lots of story and lots of places where he then gets annoyed at me because I'm like, well, except you said that this place was this far from this space, but it takes this long to get to this place. And then he let me make the map, and then he really got in trouble.
Oh, no.
It's like, well, now we have a scale of this is how far these places are. You said it takes this long, but really, it's.
Yes.
I'm sometimes the vainest existence.
Real world math.
I was gonna say,
into
speaking
a
of math.
fantasy
Yes.
world
I want
kind of
it-
doesn't always.
I want the
mix.
world building to make sense.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's
Absolutely.
the main reason why we wanted to have you on to chat, was because of the world building.
Yeah.
Right? You guys take it very seriously.
Mhm.
And when I talk to you about your stories, it's like talking to an author, talking about their world and and their characters and everything. But you're actually getting to live out your characters. Which
Yes.
is so much
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
So,
Yeah. So, I guess we
Yeah.
can talk about our characters. So, I play a Furbolg cleric,
Okay.
knowledge domain,
Okay.
and her god is literally knowledge. We actually,
Okay.
this last week, I know the name. Actually, I know who the god is now because
Okay.
that's been
Okay.
one of the big mysteries.
okay.
And now I've forgotten the name.
I know it starts with a P.
We got so much lore last
Yeah.
week.
It was a huge
Well, and-
lore
Yeah.
drop last
Quick,
week.
for those who don't know what a furbolg is.
A Furbolg. Okay. So Furbolgs are now in 5e. They're mountain folk. They're
Yeah.
kind of, I think they were really based in the Ogiers
Mhm.
Okay. Yes.
from Wheel of Time.
From yes.
Yeah, and that's how I look at them.
right.
Critical Role, like they started off as more Ogier like in Forest Folk.
Mhm.
Critical Role, somewhere along the line, put a bovine spin on them.
Mhm.
And I like that. So my character's kind of Highland Cow.
Okay.
Is where she's
Mhm.
based
Yes.
on. So she's
Yeah.
got Scottish accent and all of that. She's 7'9".
Everybody wants to cuddle her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's not.
She's like, no, away
Yeah,
from me.
she's a little- Doesn't quite know. She's really friendly with her family, but
Right.
yeah, they didn't exist in the world
Okay.
when we first started. So the world that
that new. Yeah.
well, they exist in D&D
Oh,
in
but not as a
in
character.
the homebrew world that we're working in,
Right.
Sandoria. They
Yeah.
didn't exist.
Our
Okay.
DM is a home brewer, so this is
Yes,
this made up
and it's-
world that he's
it's
created
awesome
for
what he's
us
done.
Okay.
and interjected
Okay.
all of these
Yeah.
things into it.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
I came in with this character and kind of a like, well, she comes from these clans and a happy family and all of this. And
Yeah.
at some point along the line, I wrote 16 pages of world building for the 5 different clans and what their exports are. And this clan produces this, and this one does this.
As one
and-
does. Yeah.
As one
That's
does, and
so
this is their
wonderful.
seasonal
Yeah.
holidays, and this is
Oh my
how
goodness,
this is
I
how the
love
children
it.
are raised, and their marriage traditions, and how they're named. Oh, that was a fun one.
Yeah, it was.
I get lots of shower thoughts, and
Yes.
one was, wait a second, Common is not her first language; it's Sylvan. And they get named, like
Yes.
they earn their names.
Yeah.
So her name was earned as Wander,
Okay.
and then the clan name is Mountain Root. And it's like, wait, Wander's a common word. It wouldn't be common. Oh no.
Yeah.
So I resolved it in my head of no, her name is, and I looked up Sylvan, and it's Revia.
Okay.
But they put so much importance on what the name means
Right.
that's how she would be introduced in common, because
Mhm.
it's not the word, it's what it means. So she's Wander.
right.
Solved.
Okay.
Yep.
I
There
went
you
the
go.
Tolkien route. Like
There you go.
everything.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it
But
worked
yeah.
well.
So have
Yeah.
you now
So-
written out a page of what her name would be in every single zone that she enters? Like she goes to a dwarven hold, what's her name now?
Oh yeah, no, she just sticks. She for the most part sticks with the common
Okay.
because that's everybody
Sure.
speaks common, and
Right.
she only knows a few different languages.
Okay.
And even then, I figure she can read them. They're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
They were very secluded, and
Mhm.
and the joke right now is she was all happy, everything was great. The party is her tragic backstory now.
Yes.
Okay.
This game has
It-
been her tragic
it
backstory.
really is.
But yeah, and then you've
I-
had 2 characters.
Yes,
now.
I'm actually on my second character.
Okay.
My first character was a half elf,
Okay.
and the class was actually a split class
Okay.
because during the first session, I actually started out as the bard because I needed to be the livelihood to the group because we had 2 new people that never played D&D.
Yes.
I needed to be the one that was charismatic,
Yeah.
having the voice and being very upbeat, keeping them on the beat, let's
Right.
go. And I'm
Right.
already very,
And occasionally heal them. if
and
necessary.
heal them. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
heal them. And then as the story evolved, my character took on another class. And because in D&D 5th edition, you can multi-class.
Mhm.
And that creates a whole new thing. It actually creates more backstory. So
Okay.
that's what happens. My backstory changed
Okay.
along the way. And it added dragons, draconic, into his bloodline.
Because he's draconic sorcerer.
So I turned into
Okay.
a draconic sorcerer. And so I added this whole dragon line of my mother was a dragon. My dad was a half or elf or something like that.
And his character had amnesia.
Yes.
Oh.
So I had no idea any of this. And so
Okay.
the DM was like organizing.
The story
all of this
was
in the
being
background.
like
Sure.
interjected
Awesome.
with these cues, and I was
Yeah.
finding out who I really was, and found
Right.
out there was a revenant after me because he had put a task on my bloodline. And so that
Okay.
created a whole slew of things, which turned into my character figuring it out, getting rid of his dragon side of him, and then finding his love of his life and his father, and then leaving the party
Yeah.
because of how the story just
It just flowed that way.
It
And
just
that
flowed.
happens with
Yeah.
stories. Is
It
sometimes
does.
the character is
Takes over.
and
Yes.
the character takes
Right.
over, and
Yes.
it's time for that character
Yeah.
to go on for the
Yeah.
story, because it's collaborative storytelling is what
Right.
Yeah.
what we end up with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So then-
and so then trying to figure out what am I going to do with my next character. And so I had this random thought in my head. My character we were in the Feywild,
That's right.
kind of Feywild adjacent. So it's almost into the Feywild, but it was
It
because
was on the edge.
on the
There
edge.
was a blending of the realms.
Okay.
There were
Sideways, if
these
you will.
were these
Yeah.
flowers.
Yeah.
They were flowers, right?
It was a flower. It was a wild magic.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it was a wild magic thing that you triggered, and you weren't there anymore.
My character, so Yevon is the half elf dragon
Okay.
sorcerer
Yeah.
bard,
Yeah.
was launched into another realm, was launched into the astral plane,
Okay.
and then got to speak and a Gith Yankee airship, or were
So-
the
It was Good
Yeah.
Yankee.
yep.
So they're alien. Basically,
Okay.
they live in the astral plane.
Okay.
And there's Gith Yankee and Gith Rezai. Gith Yankee are the warlike,
More warlike. The Gith
And
Rezai
are
are much
the
more
monkish.
brainy, monkish,
wizards.
wizard type,
Okay.
traditions.
Yeah.
Vulcans and Romulans.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes, exactly.
It's
Same race,
actually-
different
Yep.
group.
It
Yep.
is 100%.
Yeah.
And so that actually pushed into now my new character. I chose to go with the Githrazai route because of that interaction with my
Yeah.
previous
Mhm.
character. Just sparked that. And our DM was so excited to bring the astral plane into his world. He was
Right.
trying to figure out how he could get it tied in.
Oh,
That was
very
one
nice.
way he was going to try to bring it in.
Yeah.
My character bridged the gap, and
Yep.
he
Perfect.
ran our DM is fantastic with
And
that
this
world
is-
building
so-
side.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and now, so you are now
I play a wizard, and it's a chronoturgy, which is the Matt Mercer's
that's a
version of a Time Lord, basically.
Okay.
Time wizard plays
Yeah.
with the time, like
Yeah.
stopping it or
Mhm.
making
Oh,
things change a little
fun.
bit.
So
Yeah.
clutch
That's
and
so fun.
fights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it created so much story with that connection between
Yep.
the astral plane and the material plane and all of the other backstories.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. That's amazing how that worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
perfectly. Yeah.
It was, yeah,
It's fun.
orchestrated.
It's fun. And now we are barreling towards the culmination of all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, does he organize it like I think you said something earlier about seasons?
It
Like, you know,
kind of has
you kinda
the
think
feel
about
of
it.
seasons.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
had our first season, our big
Right.
conflict and all of that, and then
Right.
the stuff kind of slowed down, and now we've inadvertently triggered into our second season finale,
Okay.
which is
Mhm.
where we're at right now.
Cool.
And then
Right.
we know that basically we'll have a third arc, and then this campaign will be done.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're level 16.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we're pretty high up there.
So probably
Um,
hit 20 by the end
we'll-
of 3.
we'll hit-
and-
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
probably hit level 20 is what the
And
plan
that'll
is.
be that.
Yeah.
Provided
what
we survive the
Right.
next two sessions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you find out in D&D 5th edition, most campaigns don't actually make it to higher
No.
levels.
Yeah.
Because it actually is
Oh.
difficult.
It's so difficult
With the
balancing.
higher
level.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
balancing like all
Yeah,
the high
balancing
on the
levels.
mechanic-
mechanic,
combat.
talking about
Gotcha.
the math side of it, the
Yeah,
mechanics.
the
Yeah.
mechanics and the math and combat can get really heavy when you have really powerful characters.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Cool.
Awesome. And then, so you said you wrote a 16-page thing.
I
think you said
did.
that's actually, it's been tied into, like,
Yes.
you didn't just write it on the side.
So I pulled it up
Yeah.
here so I could actually have it because it's been a bit. Yes, so I wrote this Observations of the Giant Kin of Zandoria by Professor Tramble Filden, and she has this whole preamble, and so I created this professor that went and lived with the clans for a couple of years and wrote all of this stuff.
Okay.
So then this document, I gave it to the DM like this is an in-world document, and it had a note like the elders said, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can write it. You can't release it yet because we're living in secret. Nobody knows about it.
Right.
And then we find out in world that, oh no, it got released early. And then my character discovers this, flips out at the museum that has it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then-
somehow it got
and
in
then
the
the monk-
museum
Our monk
Right.
stole it.
Yeah.
because he knew that.
So then I had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we run into this character later and find out, no, she didn't. It was stolen by
Okay.
the monk's
Oh.
family, who's this
Right.
shadow organization that's
Okay.
who we are currently fighting.
Yep.
And they did it because my character has something that they want.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's all tied in. But yeah,
So, all
I
ties
really
in.
I enjoy writing as this quasi academic
Yeah.
sort of, it gives you some freedom to, well, maybe it was wrong.
Right.
Or you can make
Right.
corrections later in addendums and footnotes.
Exactly.
And-
Oh, I love
yeah.
that. Yeah. That's so true. Like thinking about the voice, like how am I going to write this so that I could say it's, because that's the beauty of a first person narrator, right? Is that you can have the unreliable narrator.
Yes.
So thinking of it that way as,
Yeah.
because scientific papers are never
Never-
descriptive and
yeah. Yes.
edited at
No,
all.
no, it's not.
No. Scribble.
Yes. Yes.
No.
I love that. That's fascinating. So have you done anything else like that where you are, either of you or other people in your group have written?
I wrote some stuff for you for your character.
Yeah.
Like we worked together.
We worked. She's really good at
Yeah,
editing.
we-
I fail in every form of editing, so she is my better half.
Yeah. Well, we came up with this whole concept because there's rifts in the land, there are rifts in Zandoria that are connected to other planes,
Okay.
and
And
other
so
race-
I actually worked with our DM
Yeah.
to cultivate my backstory,
yeah.
and that because my guy is a high curator. A high curator is a person that takes care of these things called the vaults.
Okay.
And these vaults, most of them got destroyed except some of the major ones. They store all of their magical items, things that shouldn't be out in the public.
Like Vecna's hand,
Yeah,
Okay.
which will come up at the
which
end
has
of the
come up
story.
in our. Yeah, we know that that's coming.
Yeah.
But time doesn't move the same in the astral plane.
Oh, okay.
But we figured that if you have a rift that's connecting you to a plane that does have time, then there has to be a dilation in that time. So the closer you get to it, time moves faster and faster to match up to. So I wrote a whole quasi-scientific thing about
Yeah, she did.
how
The timey
so
wimey
the timey-wimey
yes.
nature of it, and that if they're out further in the astral plane,
It's
time
only so many
moves-
hours
time
versus a
moves so
material
much
plane's
slower to
hours.
not at all.
Oh
So
my
they could be
goodness.
out there for years and not age,
Right.
not need to eat or any of that.
Right.
But
'Cause
then
for them, it's not been years.
yeah,
It's been,
but then they come
Yeah.
closer and time starts moving
right.
faster. And so, well, then culturally, like if time's not moving, then you can't have kids. So they have like a pattern to their life where they come back in, and
Okay.
because that's the sort of stuff that I think about. Like,
Right.
this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to fix it. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Well, and that's the great thing about D&D. It's a story that you tell.
Right.
yeah, and,
And
you're
it's a
telling
story
it-
that's not just told by the DM, it's also
Mhm.
told by the players.
Right.
And
yeah.
that's the
and the
important part.
dice.
And the dice. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've rolled many percentile dice and rolled other dice to determine an outcome based on my own decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
And
can't
that's
decide
fun
what
to
to
do.
do, you roll the dice and go with it.
Yeah. And see what
And
happens.
sometimes the natural one gives you a better story than
Right.
Absolutely.
rolling a natural 20.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We learn more from our failures than
Yeah.
we do from our successes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Unless you roll a double 20 on disadvantage. And then that's
Then
That's
it's- that is-
that's an
Yes.
epic story.
Yes.
That will be told to your grandchildren.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how it's collaborative storytelling and all of that.
yeah, the
So-
social contract between the
Exactly.
GM and players.
Yeah.
You're each here to tell a story.
Yeah.
The GM has brought a story for you to be involved in, but he's also a good GM is playing with you to allow you to have some agency as well, because it isn't just a book you're reading, right?
Yeah.
It's
Correct.
actually requires agency
Yeah.
that goes both ways.
Right. But
Absolutely.
part of what makes it fun is those rules that keep you
Mhm.
within a certain
Mhm.
limit
Mhm.
of, you can't just do anything off the wall, right? You have to be within that realm and within that world and
yeah,
follow-
things have to
follow,
be
you know,
consistent.
They have to
consistent, exactly,
consistency.
internally consistent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's nice is with
Which is
the
fun.
with the GM, he's able to dungeon master, game master.
Right.
I'm not sure if we
I think it's kind of
interchangeable.
for D&D,
It's either
but-
or.
yeah.
So
Yes,
I
yeah.
always call it DM because we're playing
Right.
Dungeons and
Right.
Dragons.
Yes.
But what's fun is you can go improvise.
Mhm.
All right, well, tell me, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And if it works within those parameters, it's like absolutely you can do this.
Right.
Roll the dice.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see what- yes, yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it helps that you have such a good DM.
Yes.
I mean, because that really
You're
does
very
make or
good.
break
Yes.
the yes.
Yeah, it's
And
not adversarial.
And great players.
And yes,
th-
yeah,
they're-
yeah.
they're
Sounds
some
like you
of
have a
our
great
best
group.
friends.
Absolutely, yeah. So, do you guys ever talk outside of things to like plan what's going to happen, or you
Yes.
strictly like when you're
We
there?
have a
Oh, no,
Discord.
we have a Discord
Discord,
chat, an
okay.
entire Discord chat. and
No
we-
DM allowed.
Yes.
Oh,
which
gotcha.
he knows
Okay,
exists.
okay.
But I'm the one in charge of the Discord, so he doesn't have any access to it.
Okay, all right, yeah. So that way you guys can talk
Yes.
a little bit on
Absolutely.
the side.
And
Okay.
occasionally in text.
Try to outthink him a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because whatever happens at the table, he hears,
Yes.
and he's
Exactly.
party too.
Although there
So-
have been times we've sent him away from the table. Like, we need some time
okay.
to plan. Go upstairs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because we also have whispers that happen. So
Yes, so
he'll
he'll
take the
tell-
person off,
Yeah.
or
he'll-
we'll do the
or
la
we
la
sit
la, I
there
can't
like,
hear you
la,
thing.
la,
Or,
as he's telling secrets.
Yeah.
Roll
It's-
really high on a perception roll or an insight
Yes.
check or cast.
didn't he get it from Critical Role? Wasn't it a Critical
I
Role?
feel like
thing?
it's just
And
a
rolling
normal
it's-
rolling
thing.
20
Yeah.
has whispering too between
Yeah.
Yeah.
DM and players. Yeah.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
Creates
Yeah,
that level
it's-
of wondering. Like,
Right.
Yes.
What did they
What did
we
know?
find
out?
Right.
Yeah.
What did they
Exactly.
find out?
Exactly. Did you bring some things?
I
to
did.
show?
Oh,
I did
yes,
bring
we
some
did.
things.
I will. This is
So I've got my character.
Uh-huh.
you gave me a drink
Um,
I can't put down.
Sure.
So 3D printed in color Hero Forge, and then I added some.
Mhm.
That's Wander.
Yeah.
And so this is from a company called Shaper's Way. They do
Yep.
printing of different things. I talked about that earlier today.
And then
So you
he
can
And so
completely
then
design
I-
your own.
this was one that you had bought this design.
Yeah,
but then
someone
you
had created
painted
this
it
design
completely.
free for everyone to have, and you could
Right.
Yeah.
go to this place and get it 3D printed. And so
Okay.
I painted it myself
hand
because
me
I
the book.
wanted my colors,
Yeah.
and you can put your own twist on it as
Yeah.
well.
So, and then this is my dice box.
And I'm not sure if I said his name is Valric.
Yes,
This is my
Valric,
second
yes.
character.
Valric Glimmervoid.
Yep.
And I don't think in game I've found an excuse to call you Glimmer Boy.
No, not yet.
I've held on to that one ever since you told me the name. It's like someday he's going to get called Glimmer Boy. So this is my DM had described the book that my character got from her god, and so I
Yeah.
designed
made it
this.
yourself. Oh my
Yes, weeks with a Dremel tool and
Yes.
then painting and
The detail.
yeah.
Oh my
In another
goodness.
life, I would be in prop making and set design.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just love
It's gorgeous. It's so incredible.
so.
So do you do that a lot?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
make a lot of
do.
props for. Yeah.
I couldn't bring it with because we had to get on an airplane, but I do have I think my spear's 6 foot.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has a
Spear.
staff that's
That
her
yeah.
character's actual spear.
Yeah,
Awesome.
made out of the head is made out of craft foam wrapped around graham cracker boxes.
Oh, did you
Oh,
bring
Yeah.
your symbol?
Yes,
You did
I
bring your whole.
that.
Oh,
I love the class.
Yes. Oh, and that's a fun story.
yes.
I got that off of a purse that I got at a thrift store.
Nice.
Oh
This
my
and the strap,
goodness.
and it was just a really cool leather
Yeah.
purse. It was like, I'm not my style, but I know I could use this someday. and
Right.
ta-da! Here we go.
Love it.
So yes.
Okay.
So I figured she picks up knickknacks.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
this is the holy symbol that she started with.
Okay.
It glows. It's got crystals in it. It's got Herkimer diamonds in it that I got at a
Mhm.
rock show.
Wow.
And then at some point, one of our guest characters made up that he had ran into her family in the Feywild, and they gave him an acorn to give to her. And so this is an actual acorn top that I made
Yeah.
the base for and the leaves.
Wow.
What bird is
And it glows in the dark
Yeah.
because everything
Yes.
else glows in the dark.
We have
Everything you
in-
do glows in the dark.
Everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love
so-
having things glow in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glow in the dark or sparkle. And then
Yeah.
we've got black lights up where we play D&D because
Oh,
everybody's dice do something.
Do something.
And
Okay.
FOS or glow
yeah,
in the dark,
so
whatever.
we've got a big black light that we like, ooh, what do my dice do? And
Sweet.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
we have a couple dice goblins. One in particular.
Yes.
You know who you are. So
Oh, that's awesome. That adds to it. Like
It does.
you have
It's
to
fun.
have dice that go.
if we
with
have
Yeah.
to do
character.
if we do have to do math, it has to look pretty.
Right,
That's right.
exactly.
It better.
Please make it worth it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Well, now that introductions are out of the way, we have some random questions to ask.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true. We
oh,
skipped
okay.
the random questions. We always
Oh,
do
random questions.
Yes, these will have
I
something
like
to do with
this.
books, just
Okay.
random bookish questions. We'll do 2 each, or ask 4 of both of them every time.
We have a question we've been waiting to ask a mystery author,
Yes.
Oh.
and we keep grabbing it as the first thing we grab every time. we
Yes,
see it. All right,
every time.
Adam, which fictional character would you love to be BFFs with?
I think you can expand out of books.
Out of books?
Yeah,
You
fictional.
haven't
Fictional.
read- you haven't read as much.
Yeah.
What character?
TV, movie,
Ooh,
but they have to be
Mm.
fictional. So
yeah.
you can't say Leonardo da Vinci. You can see Leonardo the Turtle, but you can't
Nah.
say Leonardo da Vinci.
Well,
Hey,
that-
I love Ninja the Turtles.
Yes.
Get in the room with Donatello, learn about all that technology.
He does machines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do love Joey.
Yes.
Yes.
Honestly, so have you ever watched Sanctuary? It got discontinued. I actually look like a little bit like the guy,
Okay.
and he played
Tesla.
Tesla.
But Tesla
in it.
was a vampire.
But he was a vampire.
Oh,
But he was
okay.
awesome.
But because we watched Sanctuary when it first came out, like what
Okay.
I remember when it was a YouTube show.
Oh, okay.
Because it was Sam Carter from Stargate.
Okay.
Mm.
Is who started it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a
MacGyver.
MacGyver? The guy who plays
no
MacGyver?
Sam, the gal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the other people from Stargate were in on it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tesla was a vampire. And it was just before we started dating. We were on a
Yep.
dance team together, and my parents referred to him as the guy that looked like Tesla.
Oh,
And it was
yeah.
from Sanctuary,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
hadn't watched it yet.
So
So,
you wanted that
we started
character?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how about yourself, Rebecca?
Oh. Well, now I've got all of that in my head.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So like Daniel Jackson would be my response if that's where I'm going. But best friend. There are a lot of them. Where to go?
Which one?
I want to go be in the veterinary shop.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Quentin Creatures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just go hang
Yeah.
out in the veterinary shop
Okay.
Wait, but
With Evelyn
With who?
specifically, or
with Riv.
with
oh,
Rick?
with
Rick.
Rick. Oh,
Rick,
Rick.
yes.
Okay, there
Yeah.
Too
we
many
go.
names in my
Yes.
head with
Yes.
Rick.
Yeah.
So you're saying you want your best friend to be a furbolg?
Yes. They are my favorite race. They are my favorite race.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes,
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
where I'd be.
You get along with him
Awesome.
well.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. He
Absolutely.
has a lot of Angus qualities about him.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
Because furbolgs are bovine, so
But also her brother is. But also her brother is Angus.
I know who's beef.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Angus beef.
I suppose shout out to core climbing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Either of you. Do you judge books by their cover?
This would be an answer for her.
I'm a graphic designer, so
Yes. So yes.
but I actually just had read a thing talking about this that yeah, you should judge a book by its
Yeah.
cover that was specially designed to show you what is inside the book.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I do judge
Yeah.
books by their cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've gotten better.
They have.
How angry do you get when the cover does not match what you then read?
Yes.
A
That's
la
what bugs me.
the first book
Like,
of Baxter
especially
Lane.
traditionally published books are known for
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
I see a cover that I know the book,
this. Yes.
especially like a classic,
yes.
Mhm.
and I look at the cover, I'm like, what
What does
on
that have to do?
earth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Personally, it's misleading.
Yeah.
I do judge a book by its cover
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I will look at if I'm in the library or something,
Yeah.
I'll pull out a book that looks interesting,
Yeah.
then I'll actually open it.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That-
If it
that's the
doesn't
point of
interest
it.
you, most of the time, yeah, I could go in and read it,
Right.
but
It's the cover that catches your
it's
eye.
the cover that catches your
It's
eye.
like looking
Yes.
at wine.
Yes.
It's,
Exactly.
it's always the wine
Right.
label.
Oh,
It's the
absolutely.
label.
It's always the
I
wine
buy
labels.
based on the
Don't
wine
lie.
label.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All the sommeliers say that. So if you don't know wine,
Just
buy it by what
By the
cover
wine
you
label.
what label you think is prettiest. And I've even heard you look for the label you like, then go find, and if you end up liking that wine, then you go looking for the same label and location
Mhm.
in the $5 bin, and it's usually the same wine that's been packaged by the same vineyard.
Fascinating.
Oh, did you put it back in there?
Oh my gosh.
No, did you
Same
put the
way.
question
Yeah,
we
I
just
put it back
asked
in,
back
yeah,
in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you subscribe to any boxes?
Like subscription
Oh.
boxes.
We did it for a little while. We did Dungeon in a Box.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh.
We
It
did
was
do Dungeon in
it was a
Box for
really
bit.
cool thing where they packaged these like special little
It basically be a
campaigns,
whole one
like
shot.
a whole one
Oh,
shot into a
box.
box, a
Yeah.
certain
Add
level
in-
to
Yeah, and skinny minis and all that.
yeah. It was a new
Yeah.
thing where they started, instead of having the actual full physical
Yeah.
minis,
That
they would do
they're
skinny
like-
minis. But
Yeah.
they were also they went
Huh.
farther than that. They said, well, we'll also send in regular minis as well. And so
Yeah,
they did
so it's
it
a
was a
combination.
hybrid.
So we have a small stack
cool.
of these.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we've got a one shot ready. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, those
So-
would be good with the kids once they start
Yeah.
getting like
Yes,
good way to
yes.
just
Yeah,
So-
those are
Yeah.
small things. And what was
Yeah.
cool is some of them actually intertwine. One picked up
Yeah.
where the other one left off,
Mhm.
and then
Okay.
could stack.
yeah.
And I did just the 4, but I did do Sanderson's.
Oh yes.
Yes.
That's the,
Yeah.
The full box?
the fancy
Yeah.
books.
Oh,
And
lucky. I wish I could have.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're
they're beautiful.
Yes.
but yeah, that's and Kiwi crates here
Yeah.
and there for
Yes,
the kids.
Yes,
exactly.
Kiwi
With
crate.
With
Great.
the
Great.
Tika
Great.
crates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right, last one. Do you pre-order books or wait for them to come out first?
It depends.
Yeah.
Depends on who's writing them.
Yes. Yes.
Well, if it's you
So-
guys,
Yeah,
we
well,
think
yes.
I pre-order.
Yes.
Yes, pre-order on the Kickstarter.
Yes. Yes.
Do the big box.
Yes.
the big
Yes.
Best deal.
It is.
And I think I did pre-order Quaint Creatures. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
I've
Yeah.
obviously I did Sanderson's.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
if
So
it's an
known
author,
authors.
if it's an author I know and
Yeah.
trust,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
I
even
want to support.
even with
Yeah.
D&D books too, there's sometimes where it's like, I really want
Oh,
that
we
book.
did do. Yeah, I did do a pre-order
Yes.
on the
It was the
Golden Keys.
Yeah, Golden Keys for all
which
the one
I'm
shots
running a
for
one shot this week on.
Okay.
they're all the
It's all
short-
heists.
Yeah, all
Which
heists.
are great fun.
Yes.
I love a good heist.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So follow-up question.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 favorite heists?
I was gonna say. How do you define a good heist?
Doesn't have to be a movie. It can be a TV show. What's your top 5 favorite heists? It can be real world too, but
Oh.
What was that one?
and why is Ocean's 11 on that list?
I was gonna say Ocean's 11
Yeah.
has to be the top.
Yeah,
that's-
it's already there.
yeah,
Yes.
An Italian Job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Italian Job.
Yeah.
Yes. Just like when people try to scoff at saying Hook was not a masterpiece, which it is. Those who say that, well, Italian Job was a movie out of its time and it was okay, but it doesn't hold up. Wrong. It still
No,
holds up.
it-
It's a great movie.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Italian Job.
Of course, when you ask questions, everything like goes.
Sure.
Right.
It leaves
Yes.
because like
Yeah.
what was it?
Okay.
Was
the
it a
one shot-
heist? Oh,
What?
a real world. What was it? The one where the guy buried the money and then told everyone, and then no one's ever found it.
Yes,
Do you
that's-
consider that a heist?
It's an unfinished heist.
It's an unfinished heist. Yeah.
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 He's already gone
keep-
back and gotten it.
People are looking for it still.
Right. Is
Today.
this the
Yeah.
one in Washington
I
from the plane crash?
No, that's the
That's the guy who
D.B.
jumped up.
Cooper.
Yeah.
I was
that
saying
jumped-
D.B.
which I would
Cooper is-
say,
yes.
that's a
That's
Yeah.
an
sure
unfinished.
that's
Yeah.
that's on the list.
Yeah.
I ran a one shot from the Golden Keys that was level 1 with half the players had never played D&D, and it was all gals, and they had 3 planning sessions in the bathroom that they asked where it was.
it's everything in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was, one of them was a goblin disguised themselves as a little kid and came totally freaked out the head of the museum as she panicked like, I just want my mom, and just rolled so high on her persuasion. So I count that as,
Yeah.
as one of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
highs because it was
Absolutely.
so much fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm trying to think of the. Which one was it?
Do you consider killing the Lord Ruler one of your favorite heists? Or no?
Yes. No,
Or
that's
do you
a
not
heist.
consider that a heist?
That's a heist.
Yeah.
So, all right. This is back to D&D.
Yes.
What makes a bad Dungeons and Dragons session?
Ooh.
We have actually had a couple of those.
Without throwing anyone under the bus.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
no! I think we all just.
Well,
it-
you even with a good group,
you can
you
still
can still have bad
Right.
sessions where
Yes.
people aren't focused. People bring in their
Real world
life
junk.
is stressful and they bring
Yes.
that in
Yes.
to the game.
Right.
Or people get way too excited or about certain aspects and you're talking over each other
Right.
and something then happens. Like we did have a point where there were a series of things where rules weren't, like order of operations wasn't fully being followed, rules weren't fully being explained. Something happened that was massively game changing, but it was kind of an out of the order. And we ended up having like our DM retconned a whole section. Like it was,
We took a
in-game,
long
it was
break
like 2
actually.
Right.
Everyone
but yeah,
cooled
everybody
off.
had to like cool off, figure out what happened. Like, okay, no, that wouldn't make sense. Yes, this person would have seen this. They
Right.
didn't just
Right.
at the table. They didn't get a chance.
Right.
And
Because sometimes the sessions go so quick. People
Yeah.
jump from one thing and the DM can only catch so many people. at
Yeah,
the
you've
table
got
'cause
one-
you got 6
one
people.
person in charge
right.
with 6 people all talking at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So that's in particular, but also just an unexpected event. So we had a character death.
I wouldn't call that a
It
Bad.
was not a bad session, but it can be a emotional
out of that.
how you come out of it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my goodness, a
Yeah.
character he died.
yeah.
okay.
So one of our guys in our group, his character died, and it was like heart-wrenching for us all.
Okay.
And so that's not
especially
necessarily
a couple of us because somebody told somebody to press the button.
yes.
So then character had a lot of guilt.
Oh.
So it's not necessarily
Yeah.
a bad session, but it can be, whoa, this is heavy.
There can be emotional like carryover, emotional hangover the
Right.
next
Right.
day sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've all had to like there are times when we finish a session, it's like, okay, it's just a game.
Right. Yeah.
But so like what we have talked about a little bit, like even though it's a game, and the importance of going through like painful things or
Yes.
difficult things, when we're doing that in a game, it's a safe space.
Yes.
Like in reading a book, where you're getting kind of secondhand emotions and stuff, but you're processing through that, and that can help you with then resilience when you get into tough situations in life.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And I was listening to watching Critical Role. They just had Brennan Lee Mulligan DM, and so they were doing a chat about that, and they were talking about the importance of story and how being involved in stories can help your resilience. And some of the most resilient people they know have been involved in stories or go to stories. And he's talking about sitting in New York and on the curb, nothing's working out and everything's falling apart. And he's like, this is just how like Frodo felt when da da da.
Yeah.
Right.
And it made me think of Chesterton.
GK.
Where his famous quote, fairy tales do not tell children that dragons exist. Children already know that dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that dragons can be killed. And when we have those hard sessions or a character death or something that happens there, it builds up that little bit of, oh, I can handle this.
Right.
Yes. So then when you're in real life and you get into an argument or you have things, you've got that little thing in the back of your head of, oh, I've already done something like this. I know how I can react. Or I've read this in this is like so-and-so in this situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives you that extra piece of armor or this is conquerable.
Right.
I can make it through this.
Right.
Or provides you allows you to disassociate enough to roll a wisdom save in the middle of a conflict. How do I step back? And,
take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Slow down, because most of the time your emotions get ahead of you.
Right.
And if you don't slow down, that's where the anger comes in, and you can act on your emotion.
Or fear.
Fear. Yeah, fear is that's a real thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so much we experience through books. There's that whole scientific study about how we actually do, when you read a book, it's like your secondhand, you are experiencing something with the parts of your brain, right? They did a whole study about the part of your brain that activates when you're hearing a story versus when you're being lectured on something. It was something about actually pastors giving sermons and why they intersperse it with stories is because, everybody in the congregation sits up when he changes from talking about, just telling you, what this parable means to. So there was this time when I was doing this, everybody, you actually change.
Yeah.
And so when you're listening to a story, whether it's read aloud or you're reading a story, there actually is a part of your brain that activates that is different. And it's a part that tells you I am experiencing this with somebody. And so it is like a second-hand experience.
Well, it's magic, right?
It is.
Like when we talk about how our phones are magic because they're rocks that have been harvested, and then you pound them with electricity, and they give off energy.
Rooms.
They're rooms, right?
They're room magic. Yeah.
But books are spellcraft because you're literally reading a spell written on a piece of paper and having a mass hallucination with other people who are doing the same thing elsewhere.
Right.
So it's a mass hallucination off of paper. So it really is magic.
Yeah.
But it's an interactive magic that actually is rewriting your brain. And they both are. So is the room magic of a phone.
Right.
But in a bad way, right? In a lot of ways.
It is.
But with reading, you're actually downloading new information and creating memories. Like I have memories of not only when I've read a chapter, but I have memories of where I've written a chapter because I'm actually inventing imagery
right
in our heads. And that's what's
it's
crazy.
Imprinting in your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
We have passageways in our brains, and it's growing those, and it's imprinting.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would say especially true with something like role-playing games.
Absolutely,
right?
It does.
A real mass hallucination.
Right.
We're all doing it. And all
taking it the next step.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, you'll talk about, we conquered this thing, right?
Yes.
I remember this time when we killed this giant turtle with little mice and my mouse guard.
Yes.
I can see it. I can see it playing out.
Yeah.
And where my character was and what we were doing, and and it's like when you read a book, but it's
several of our fights. Like the one of the main ones when I was in her character's village of Mountain Root, where there was a huge orc army coming, but one of our guys decided to go off by his own and found a red dragon and fought a red dragon out in the forest. Solo.
Oh my God.
Killed it.
Oh my goodness.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then we got turned around and
almost were all wiped out by this orc army. Yeah. This was the first ever feeling of an emotion that we might actually lose in this campaign.
Right.
It was the first time.
And we still look back at that as was the greatest battle.
That was the greatest battle. Printed on your mind.
So high.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
200 against 10,000 Urukai. And you're the one guy who made it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I love all that.
Yeah.
So do you do any other role-playing games? Strictly D&D?
No.
Strictly D&D. We play board games, but really D&D is as far as all the TTRPGs or stuff like that. There are others we want to try.
Yeah.
I really want to do some psychological space horror, like the Alien one.
Yeah.
Or Mother is another.
Okay.
Do some one-shots.
Yeah.
Because you can do some...
Add some sanity
one-shots are fun
there.
because you can... insanity stuff.
Yeah, insanity.
Give me the psychological horror. I want to make people feel weird. But we haven't jumped into any of that yet. So I've got there's they did a Kickstarter and it's for 5e Gloomhaven.
Okay.
No, that's a game.
Yeah, Gloomhaven's a game.
No. Yeah. Gloaming Wilds.
Okay.
And it's one of those Kickstarters that has kind of gotten...
It keeps getting pushed out.
They did it, but everything keeps taking longer.
Yeah.
And I'm patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
But eventually there will be a book and it adds a lot of that, sanity rolls and all of that into your D&D.
Gotta hold my mouth.
Turn the horn the other way.
Which way? This way?
Sideways. There you
go.
There.
Yeah.
Gotta hold my mouth.
I blew mine earlier too.
And so that's Insane Feywild.
I think, yeah.
Okay. Fun.
So.
What's that game that we played? The board game with the not Mansions of Madness, but it's kind of like that.
Oh,
with
you mean Mysterium?
Yeah. No,
Mysterium?
Mysterium's the one where you're a ghost telling.
There's the
Betrayal on House
Betrayal
that
on
one.
Hill.
Yes.
You just got
that one.
Yes. Yeah.
Where you don't
You'll
know
like
who it
that
is.
one.
You don't know who
Yeah.
Every scenario is a
that
different story.
person is.
Everyone's a scenario, and it's it's very fun. But Stuffed Fables we've enjoyed with we haven't done with the kids yet, but they're probably about ready.
Almost ready. Yeah.
Stuffed Fables is another RPG where it's open and go,
Mm-hmm.
and you're different animals
play
fighting
on
off
the
nightmares
book
that are attacking a little girl. And so that's why we've kind of waited because
Yeah.
it's actually something that our children are having.
You literally get the stuffing knocked out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them are better at taking stuffing back or healing stuffing to heal other stuffies.
But you're like
Oh.
little
And-
stuffies,
Yeah,
and
we
you've got
would
like
have-
rubber bands and
That-
stuff.
Halfway through the campaign, you
For
meet a
our
lion that
children,
starts
yes.
without an arm because he's already lost his arm. And he
Yeah.
eventually gets his
You
arm,
have to go find it.
but he doesn't sew it back on. He uses his arm with its sword as his weapon. Yeah,
That's awesome.
but because of that, he can't carry two handed weapons because he only has
He
one
only
arm,
has the one arm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
which has to hold the arm that has his other arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Does he have a longer reach? Is the question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's one with it's got a board, right? So you
On,
flip it
on
open.
the book, so you're
Okay.
reading the book
Yes.
with the scenario right there on the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So it's really great. Yeah.
Almost a choose your own adventure type,
Yeah.
where it's more, if this happens, then this happens,
Yeah,
right? If you
right.
choose to do
If you
this,
let something run, you have to then go fight them later, which makes the second half of the scenario harder.
right?
Or it becomes a puzzle instead if you
Yeah.
defeated him
That's a
early.
great one
Yeah.
too. Yeah, and we've done Mouse Guard.
Which is a burning wheel system, which is much more negotiate everything.
Very story centric.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you fight your
No
little
rules.
mice, and
Yeah.
birds are actual ravens that can eat you in one swipe. Or fighting a owl is a red dragon. You're not going to live.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you roll really well, you won't kill it unless you do. But you're not going to kill an owl. But you might get enough of an advantage to chase it off, and he'll leave you wounded, tired, and hungry.
Mhm.
And all you wanted was a tail feather. You're like, you ran him off, but you did so well. What do you want? Is I want a talent. So you make a negotiation with the GM and say, I'll take extra effects on me if you give me one of his talents,
Right.
because I'm going to wear it or use it or make it into a hook.
Right.
So you can negotiate how
Yeah.
your outcome is based on how poorly you fared.
Oh, that's
right.
that's
And
fun.
there
Interesting.
is some rolling, but it's not a D20 or anything. It's all picture dice, so it's very kid friendly. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's about pushing.
Yeah.
How do you push kind of the meter of how well you're sitting on your meter?
Yeah.
And if you push them way over, then by the end of the event, they could have you completely dead, and you could die.
Yeah.
Or you could be completely wounded because the GM really needs you there for the next scenario. So he's going to leave you just in the worst straits, and it might be back later.
Yeah.
because in your campaigns you can die,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? You can actually get killed. And so
Yep.
have you had anybody actually die? I know
Yes.
you passed on, but
Yeah. No, because we had that player death.
It
So
was
Okay.
my
Oh, that's right,
character
that's right, you
is
said,
still
yes,
my
yes.
my
His
first
character
character
is
is
still
still
alive.
alive
Okay.
in another city.
in another right.
He
yes.
just left the
Yeah.
our
Part-
group is called the
yeah.
Derailers.
Okay.
And so he left the
Which happened
Derailers.
very quickly because
Yes.
we just derail.
Do you ride
Yeah.
bikes?
Yes.
A
For Volks on bike.
derailer is
I
what
know.
changes them.
Exactly. Yep.
But no, we did have a full character death. He got sucked into what's the spell?
So it was a homebrew spell.
But it was an orb of nothingness.
It was basically a
Yeah,
sphere of
there's-
annihilation.
Yeah. So it was
Okay.
basically disintegrate,
Okay.
Yeah.
gone.
So then does
So
that
then-
person pick a new character?
Yes,
Okay.
so his character was Natan Neulif,
Which is it? He was a giant. So Goliath.
Goliath,
So it was a
Yes.
Goliath.
who looked like Nathan Fillion.
Awesome.
Yes.
So he was Natan Neulif.
Which is
Okay.
Nathan Fillion
Okay.
backwards.
So then the next session, we're all kind of recovering. There were military with us. One of our characters is a captain. Group came on. There's this really tall elf with him who kind of hangs back and then drops his disguise, and he came as his new character, who's a shifter.
Okay.
Who looks like who?
No, he's
Okay.
just a he does, but his name's Nathan.
We were preparing for
Okay,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he just
Nathan's
came in.
Falchion.
Okay.
And I think it took 90 something sessions, and our DM finally called him Nathan Fillion, which was his goal the entire time
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was his entire goal.
from the beginning of the game.
Yes.
So
So awesome. So when he comes in, does he immediately level up to where you guys are?
he came
Or
in
does
at the
he-
level that we were at,
Okay.
and
yes.
backstory reasons of
Why?
why he was there. And then we had a few sessions, and like everybody had to process through as their characters of like, do we trust this guy?
Right.
Because he came in
What
so
a-
quick. We're like,
Yeah,
we're still grieving over the
we're
last
grieving,
character.
right,
What's
yeah.
going to happen?
We were there was a lot of psychological warfare with the bad guy at that time. It's
Okay.
like, we don't trust you, we don't know.
Right. Right.
So, and then kind of the same thing with your character, because his other character left, and we're marching on to our next mission, and there's this green guy or yellow.
Yelling up at the wall.
Yelling at
yes,
the
let
doors
me
of this
in. Blah,
town
blah,
that we're
blah.
supposed to get into.
Yeah, I was supposed to get into this town.
and it's like, well, he joined up with us, and then
Okay.
we ended up in prison.
Yep.
There
There was flowers
were
around the city
flowers.
that were changing people, and
Yeah.
it was like psychedelic flowers.
Psychological effects, you were seeing things, and so we're all starting to fight within the party,
yeah.
and he's just joined us and is like, who are these crazy
Yes,
people?
I
yes.
want
And actually had to go through a few sessions of his character's ready to bail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah. These
'cause
people
it's
are like,
who are these
these are
people?
crazy
I
people.
have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he stuck around.
yeah.
All right. So even though you're not DMing, but you're still having to come up with the story
Yes.
in the moment. What inspires you in the moment to create these things? Like how do you come up with, like that?
Mine I'll start.
Yeah.
A lot of mine is I look at my character and go, all right, when you create your character initially, you have your backstory, you have where they're
Right.
from.
You
You
have a
think
little more
about
time
their
to think about that.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. So you think about those things. So those are always underlining as you go into
Okay.
a session. So a lot of
Yeah.
times you can prep yourself before sessions.
Right.
Some people don't. They
Right.
fly by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like that, you can create the craziest stories by
That's
just
great for one shots.
Yeah, great for one
Right.
Come
shots.
in
Yes.
with crazy character and just be absolutely obnoxious the entire time. That is usually my
That's
go-to
fun.
for one shots.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
She
Because I'm only here
definitely
does.
for
Be
one
crazy.
session. This would drive everyone nuts if it was an entire campaign. But
Mhm.
I can be an obnoxious goblin that loves fireballs and
Right.
go crazy.
Yeah.
So
And so what I do is I like to prep because we're not in a one shot. It's
Right.
a session every week, and so there's a lot of stuff. I will
Mhm.
pull stuff out of my backstory. It's like, all right, he's a Githrazite. He's from the astral plane. He has this. This is the way that they operate. His
Okay.
father is a head of Prime Guard, is the main guard that's
Big
in
military
the astral,
head.
big military head. He
Okay.
didn't want to. He grew up more with his mother and his grandmother, who were very much into relics and being a librarian and things like that, because
Right.
his mother is the head of the library in this place called Calcutta de Lace. And so it's fun. You're able to pull things and
Yeah.
you use that with your character
Yeah.
as you go through things. And you
Right.
just I think about things and then I also roll. Rolling also
Okay.
helps.
Yeah.
You create a couple of
yeah, you
outcomes.
do that a lot where he'll
Yeah.
have kind of, well, I could do this, I could do this. I'm not really sure. And I just see him over there like rolling his dice. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
like, oh, well, he just decided something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously fantasy books that I've read.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I haven't read a lot, but I use that
And
imagination.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think you decided because you're part of your heritage is Polish and
Yeah.
that interests you. And so you decided like, well, if he's speaking Gith, it's Polish. And so he'll look
There
up
you go.
words and stuff. And
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I actually do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I pull up the Polish language and we'll find words that.
yeah,
All right, this is a word that you would use to say this for this spell.
like the verbal component for
Right.
the spell.
Right.
Yeah, and so then I'll
different
use
things.
that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess for my character too, it's I mean I've written a lot, I've done all that, so I kind of have a mindset like this is how she thinks, this is her mindset.
Mhm.
And like you've got the Polish, her basis is Scottish, so
right. Yeah.
I've learned, and that's my part of my heritage
Right.
too, and so
yeah.
it's been fun looking up Scots words and
Right.
things, but
yeah.
a lot of times after a session, I'll really quickly write down, it's like, this is what's going through her head. This
Right.
is emotionally where she's at, all of that. So then I have that to reference the next session.
Right.
Awesome.
And as a
Mm.
group, we've all done like doing playlists and
Okay.
things. Like
Yes.
I did a playlist and then I went through because I had already started writing my vignettes. And so the vignettes actually match up with like, so these all
Awesome.
match with this song, which is this point of her life. And
Yes.
so it's, which I think when you're writing a book and stuff too, you get into the mindset of that character and
Yes.
Yeah.
you have to have your parameters of this is who this person is.
Right. Exactly.
And
And it's funny how often they tell you what's going to happen.
yes,
Right.
well,
You
and
know,
that
yeah,
happens too.
Sounds like it's
We've-
happening to you too.
yeah,
Yeah.
where I've had things come up where I'm like writing out and realizing, oh, she thinks this.
Yeah.
This would be how she decides things.
Right.
So this is
Not
how
what
it's
I
gonna
would
happen.
decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I need to run with this.
exactly.
And
yeah.
you just
Yeah.
follow where the character goes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we are our characters,
Right.
but our characters are also in a fantasy world.
Right.
So you can have that as
Yeah.
you can be your character, but you can
Mhm.
also let those decisions of your character also rule
They
how
just
they
exist.
they
yeah.
just exist.
And also recognize that not every D&D game is like this.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like I
There's-
said, it takes the perfect concoction of.
And you have to be with players that all want that. Like we are a role play
Yeah.
heavy group.
Right. Right.
That is what we like.
Yes. Yeah.
Also killing things. But
Absolutely. Dragons,
but it's really role
wyverns,
play
and-
heavy.
Yes,
And not
yeah.
all groups are that way.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that's what's good about the DM coming in is they're able to help their players see that
Right.
Yes.
and hopefully create cohesion.
Right.
And that's important.
Very cool.
That's all I have.
That's all you got. Yeah. I think we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Are we
Yep.
almost out
I
of
think
time?
we actually
Oh.
just hit an hour.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Always flies by.
It
That was
just flies
fantastic.
by.
But for those of you that do have to go to bed, 'cause it's midnight.
We'll let you go to bed. Yes. Thank you so much
Yes.
for
Yes.
doing this
You're
with us,
welcome.
for coming
Absolutely.
on.
Coming down here
Yes.
just to be on here. I
Just to
know.
be on the
Just-
show.
yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
But I love getting into there's different ways to tell a story.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to tell a story, to do world building, and it's so important, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, that parallel between storytelling and real life, and just I think that's important to be talking about. So
And sometimes it's an escape from real life.
yes, that too, exactly.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. So and sometimes it's too close to real life.
That happens too. Yes.
Uh-huh.
All right, well. That's it. Yes.
That's
All right.
for
Well,
those in the
thank
chat,
you for
yeah.
joining us, everybody. Sorry we couldn't have the live chat going tonight, but thank you for watching later. Be sure to leave any comments or questions for them down below, because I know
Yeah,
Rebecca's
I'm
on YouTube, so
check
she
it.
can always check it and answer any questions that you might have. Let's see. Next week
is Adrian Miller.
is Adrian Miller.
Yep.
Yes. So Adrian Miller is a historian of barbecue. And so it was really fun getting to talk with him. We actually got to meet him in person here
At
in
a-
Colorado Springs
yeah,
at
at a show.
a Mountain of Authors
Yeah.
library event, and then got to
We'll have
hook
him
up
on.
with him too.
Yeah.
So, so look forward to that next week, and be sure to back the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Get in on the
Yes, do it.
action. You've got a whole month.
Hop in. Yep.
And like we said,
All of those.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
yeah.
4 hardbacks, the box they come in only gets better every
Yes.
stretch goal we
It's going really
blow
quickly.
through.
We're really
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
because there's all these fun things we wanted to put in there, and now we can.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right, I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and sign off. You want to push the button? Everybody have a good night. Good night.
Bye.